Welcome to NFP. The overnight was interesting. We've had the tape has been slow, but it's had kind of this bid under it. We had kind of built this really nice range up until about 2 hours ago, and then it started breaking the high end of the range and pushing up, and it's kind of been doing that in these little jerks, which is it's actually been very tradable. I've been scalping this for a couple of hours too, but now, so if I'm just going to flip this to 5 minutes real quick, just so you can see where we're at relatively to the last session. It's an interesting spot. So this is yesterday's initial balance, the blue lines, high and low. And we took that out really aggressively at the close, if you're around yesterday. And we've kind of just been drifting ever since. But this is what I mean. We've had a very subtle bid under the market since right about just after midnight my time. So that was about 5 hours ago. So interesting. Nobody really knows what the NFP number is going to be, and the number really doesn't matter. It's the reaction to the number. And we have a decent setup for this. We've managed to get up high enough that we're far enough away from the other end of the range that we've got some distance to work with here. So let's see, the overnight range at the moment is 20 points. So it's small relative to what we've had recently. And the volume is fairly low, but it's busier than it was yesterday. That doesn't surprise me either. Nothing's really moving. We're well correlated, as you'd expect. RTY is leading up a bit, which is continuation. And oil's kind of trying to decide what the release from the strategic reserve is going to do to the supply and the price. So it's kind of exploring. I'll talk more about oil when we get to the regular pit opening oil session, which I will start at just before 6 a.m. This session's going to go till about 10 of 6. So we'll flip from this session to that session if you're a TRG member. If you're not a TRG member, this session is open to the public, so welcome, and also the people from the tick maker classes. The reason we do live sessions around these economic releases is they often create what I like to call asymmetric trades. We get to one end of the range or the other, and there's an opportunity. And this could be one of those setups. We're working the top end of the range well enough that I think, a break up and or down or both could be very interesting. Just to put that in perspective, let's see if I could, this will be the easiest way to do this. Here's the TPO view. From each one of these is the session or the overnight, and so this is the Globex session we're on right now. And as you can see, same when we looked at the 5 minute a minute ago, we're kind of working the low end of the drop from the close of yesterday, which kind of put it into the last consolidation range it had been trading in. So this is kind of an area where you'd expect it to kind of pause. So we have a poor week leftover high way up at 46.30, which is interesting and not that far away if we get moving. So that's noteworthy too. But the thing that really caught my eye, and I mentioned this if you were at Lee's session yesterday in TRG, the morning session, I mentioned this, but I just want you to see what this looks like. This is what RTY has done in the last few sessions. And normally that type of behavior is what a top looks like, although the other 4 indexes or 3 indexes aren't really doing this severe pattern. But sometimes RTY kind of telegraphs what's going to happen for the rest of the market because it's kind of the riskier stuff, So that could be interesting to watch. NQ also has a poor week high above, and so again, any kind of aggressive move up could get interesting. There could be, we could either fade that or there could be an opportunity to get long with it. If it goes anywhere, as of right now, we've got a really beautiful range with a really close ledge right above us. We're at 53, the ledge is 55.5, and there's no high volume node between us and the ledge. It's right here. So we could easily break that. And that's what's been going on for the last few hours. We keep breaking the ledges to the upside. Okay, so that's kind of a nice little quick intro to what's going on. Let's see, I need to run and refill my coffee real quick before this starts. We've got about 7 minutes, so I'm going to go do that. I'll be right back. If you have any questions, stick them in the chat. We will try to talk to them right before we get the number, and then we'll see what happens when we get the number itself. Again, I'm watching what the number is, but I really don't care. It's the reaction to the number that matters. All right, what's that? Oh, I thought you were going to say something to me. All right, I'll be right back one more time. Refill the coffee.
Go for it. Hey, real quick, for those of you who are here, because I do see a few names that I don't recognize, is anybody here from the Futures Day Traders group? I know we've got some folks from our own Facebook group probably, but I was curious to know if anybody is here from that group.
From what group?
Oh, the Futures Day Traders group. Just curious.
Oh, okay.
Anybody rolled in?
I'm looking at the list.
Also, I don't know if this is particularly significant at all, and certainly probably not for what you're doing, but I did notice that ES this morning has gradually been chewing through that line of single prints from yesterday.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I've been watching that too. That's part of what I was describing is just there's been this kind of very subtle bid.
Yep. Yeah.
Although in the short term, there's a couple of single prints below us. There's a 47, 46. There's a couple down there. So this my middle two Sierra charts here are delta 15-second footprints, but alternatively, I have the 1 minute footprint right here. In fact, I'm going to leave that one up for this so we can see it. I'm sure we'll leave some zero prints while this is happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's also good to see the boundaries of the range and, the other end. And obviously we're at the top of it. So, yeah.
Oh, and in fact, by the way, I want to clarify, I wasn't referring to zero prints. I was talking about single prints, TPOs.
Oh, single prints. Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Right. Okay. One other thing, let me throw up here real quick. This is what the 30-minute looks like. And, again, it's just been back and forth, each rotation right up here at the top. So, I wouldn't be shocked if this high goes. It's a ledge that's well within range. And as I said, my criteria for ledge breaks are really simple. And, I say this to the TRG people all the time. This will give you about a 99% chance of trading a ledge if you use these criteria. You need to be above any high volume nodes. So, you need to be above right about there and within about 6 or 8 ticks. So, if we get anywhere above here, this is going to go. That's basically what I mean. So that's really, really likely. And yeah, there's this real thin area right above it. So again, but you never know with these. What happens right before the announcement is that the book gets so thin. And it's probably about to do that now. In fact, let's go over and look at the whole book here real fast. I'm doing the plot of it with Auction Vista, and now I just brought up a different dome, and you can actually see the liquidity. Yeah, it's already doing that. We're down below 10 at a lot of levels, and most levels are around 20. So that's what happens first, and then no liquidity means we can move really fast in a lot of different directions. So let's see what happens. I'm going to go grab that coffee. And again, I don't have any particular targets or, levels I'm watching. I just kind of watch the reaction. Sometimes it'll go right to older levels and reverse. It's the reverse I'm looking for, not the particular level. And sometimes it'll make a brand new one just for no reason and reverse at that or blow right through that. So
You got to go with the flow.
Yeah, key point about this entire trade is you have two options. And you have to be really clear which you're doing. One is to go with momentum if we get overwhelming momentum in one direction. That rarely happens. Usually what happens is we test extremes really fast when we get a surprise number of any kind. And so the trick is to fade the extremes and go back into the range. And we have a setup for both today. Upside, we could definitely get momentum to get long. And then, the second that runs out of gas, it probably will provide a decent reversal. So anyway, I am going to trade this live. If I see a good trade, I'm going to use the micros just so I don't get into a lot of trouble with the liquidity here because it's awful thin. You could end up trading ES and not be able to get a fill where you need it. So I'm going to be able to scale a little more. We'll use the micros like fractional minis, basically. So that way we can play a little bit looser with it and not worry about the tick by tick risk so much. So anyway, there's a bunch of levels around that I like. If we tag them, let's see. The number is coming up shortly, or the numbers. Actually, this is a group of numbers. It's a report that has a bunch of different numbers in it, and sometimes it takes a couple of seconds for the market to digest what the numbers are. So sometimes we'll get a little bit of two-way action right at the second it comes out, but yeah, we're starting to see a little bit of that as it thins out right now. Okay. Here, I'll bring my jigsaw thing over here so you can see when the numbers come out, they'll come up in this actual column here pretty quickly. But again, I don't really pay attention to what they are. Getting our volatility right now. Oh, we got a decent turnout. Thanks for coming, everybody. This sometimes is a really fun session. Sometimes we get a really crazy move. And, okay, that means the number's out. We just started. There we go. Okay, so we pushed the top. We did not break the ledge yet. It's holding this high volume node, but it's behaving like the numbers are out. So there they go. Okay, so nothing particularly exciting. Again, I don't really care what the numbers are. It's the reaction. But just a quick glance, nothing looks like it's really far away from what was expected. So that could mean that we get a big nothing. Not uncommon either. But let's watch it settle here for a minute. My gut is that this is a short right here based on the reaction so far. And I think I might take that. I was a little late, but I think we can grab some ticks. Okay, I just got 4 ticks on that short, so I got a point. I was late though. I didn't hit the market fast enough. The second it started to break down here on this high volume node at 51, it was clearly a short. But now you would be chasing that short because it's back at that 47, 48 area that in the smack dab in the middle of the range. That's what it's been trading all night. That's the trade I've been doing all night. So a little bit late to it, and I didn't do quite enough size there, but we got one, so that's cool. They add up. Actually, tonight I've had a bunch of good winners, just all little small winners over and over again, so I can't complain. Well, see, now we are smack dab in the middle, and that's the move you were looking for was, the outside to the middle, outside in, and we got that. So from here on out, the likelihood of getting a good trade isn't there unless we get, again, one of two things: momentum, which we're not getting, or we get back to one end of the range or the other. And then we can look at potentially fading it. But right here, this is like just no man's land. You can see we're getting a little bit of sweeps in both directions. It's filling in the traded volume here on the bid and the ask. This is Jigsaw, if you're not familiar with that, over on the far right. Sierra in the middle and Ninja on the left. I've got 3 different platforms. Actually, I have 4 platforms running. Anyway, so yeah, this continues to be a really kind of slow, painful short. The entry was definitely right where I did it. I was a crack late, but that was a good spot. And there's a big sweep down that got bought. So that's a real good reason not to try to stay short right there. It's just work in the middle, and this is really typical. So I'm not going to look for any more trades unless we get back to the extreme. I don't think we're going to get enough momentum to trade, and it's going to continue to be thin like that. If you go back and look at the book, see, it's still really thin. Most levels have 20, 30 at them. So, so somebody puts up 100 lot and we sweep 3, 4, 5 levels real fast. So the opportunity was a short off of that level, and now there's really not much to work with. On the other hand, if we can get down into this 40 area, it might start looking interesting again. It's kind of drifting down there, and I remember, just to put this into context, let me blow that up a bit. So this is kind of the range that we've been in most of the night, and we got above it up to the number, and then we just traded right back into that range and had some obvious buying at the bottom end of that move. So looks like this spot right here around 47 is pretty stable. That's kind of my read of this right now.
We had some stops trigger right at the low of that level. It's in the pullback.
Oh, yeah.
Sierra.
Yeah, if you look at the bottom of the lower panel here, that's 1 minute with stops. Yeah, these zero prints are clearly stops. So the stops triggered and the buyers jumped in. I mean, look, you can see this is bar by bar delta. So that 1 minute bar was heavily on the sell side, and then the buyers came in and immediately decided that was a good level to buy. We probably will revisit it, but the question is when. I like getting long down here, particularly right around this bulge at 41-ish, 41, 42. And we got close to that little push down, got to like 43 and a half. So I could see why buyers stepped up there. I would have done the same if I could have responded fast enough. And, again, when it's this thin, you really got to kind of get in front of those moves. Like being short at this end of the range, looking to buy, maybe getting some orders on the book down here isn't a bad idea, as long as nothing else comes along that blows us through the lows. But the odds of that happening at this point in the morning with NFP already out are pretty slim. So
I think this is the slowest NFP we've seen in quite some time.
In terms of range, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
And remember what I say this all the time in my live sessions, that what's really important here is understanding not just the range, and I'm going to minimize Jigsaw for a second to draw and explain this. If you're TRG, you've heard this before, but it's good review. So, if this is the range for the session, the high and the low, right now, that's 20 points, and that's a really small little range. And if the current short-term range, that's what this is right here, the LRC range, what's the statistical range of the last couple of minutes? That's really small, and right now it's kind of in the middle. And what you're looking for is, it to be at this end or at this end. Or, if it's right in the middle and it gets really tight, that's also tradable, the break out of that. So it's a good idea to kind of keep an eye on the size of the current range versus the size of the session range. That's what I'm referring to here. So if we put this back up, you can see, that's the high and low of the session. And then the very short-term range, I'm just using regression here, and it's 58 by 52 right now. And you can also just see it looking at where it's trading. So anyway, so those zero prints are stops. There's one up here that is not stops right above us and up at 49. That one could be in play, JVC. This is really price discovery. The market's kind of exploring where it's going to find buyers and sellers and where stops are, and it's going to continue to do that. But I totally agree with the comment. This is one of the slowest NFP days reactions we've seen in months.
It's price discovery as if Neo and the Matrix were doing it, and everything is bullet time.
Yes, and in slow motion.
Exactly.
Yeah. It is. It does feel like that. I think part of that is we've just really litigated the range a lot recently. Let me show you what I mean by that. So this is the TPO view from each by session. So, and we're in a range that we've respected a number of times. And, we get 4 or 5 days or 4 or 5 sessions going where we don't really leave it. And then we kind of go up and now that was too high and we explore back down. And this is an old one, that we've been in before too. If you look back to, that was that February, end of February. And so, it's kind of a clean pattern, and where the inflection point should be is fairly predictable right now. So, and even look at this, look at how symmetrical the profile is. This is really clean, and we're right smack dab in the middle of it. So, when I see this, I just kind of say to myself right away that there's just not, we're back at 48. Hang on. While I'm explaining that, there's a short setting up again. We got that, we're right below that last zero. and we got one below us. This is a great place for a potential another short right up here. We're just not, quite high enough. I like it like right here, maybe a little lower than that. And then the spot we're at right here too isn't a bad spot, but and again, this is just assuming that this high volume node above us here is going to hold. So getting a short on anywhere below that, that's where it broke down so aggressively from. It's not so much that you're always going to be right, but if you're wrong, it'll be really obvious. It'll take it some time to get through this high volume node. It won't just plow through there. So anywhere in here right now is probably a decent short, but unfortunately 47.5 is exactly the middle. So that's the last place I want to try that. But, at 49, 50, 51, 53, I really like it. And then I stop liking it if it gets above 54. So, but this is probably going to become our A session and our TRG CME open session here. I don't think we're going to get a lot more action in the next 15 or 20 minutes of this, but let's see. Let's see if I can get a fill up here. I certainly would be interested if I can. Okay, there's a little bit of, remember what we said right at the beginning of the session before we got the number. There's been a bit under the market most of the morning. And, I wouldn't be shocked to see that continue again. But in the meantime, it's fadeable until that point. If you look out, this is, it's not going to show up on there. It's going to be too granular. Hang on, let's go to, I'm going to make this like 3 minutes and then I should be able to show you what I mean. Yeah, this is the drop at the close. And then this is midnight right here. And from about this time right here, there's been this subtle bit under the market. And we just blew below that. And now we're right up at the level where, it continues to be true. And so that's what I'm watching here. I want to be short unless it can get through there, in which case, the highs could be in play one more time, or another time, I should say. But boy, this is definitely one of the quietest NFP days we've seen. Okay, because the numbers were leaked. Yeah, it could be. Who knows?
Somebody always knows what they're going to be.
Yeah, but again, that's why the point is it's not the numbers. Even if you knew the numbers, you couldn't necessarily put on a trade that could take advantage of that because you don't know how the market's going to respond to the numbers unless they're just way, way out of line one way or the other, where, the response is obvious. But that's really unusual that that's the case. And I got to tell you, in the 50 years I've been doing this, I can't tell you how many times I saw numbers that were really out of line. I thought, oh, wow, that's going to really crash the market, and the market rallies. Or I think, oh, that's really going to make the market rally, and it totally crashes on what numbers that should, in quotes, make it rally. So really common. Boy, look at this. We're kind of exploring where those stops were again, JVC. They're right below us.
Yep.
Boy, I definitely will buy a push down here, but I think it could come down as low as 42. Let's, if we took all of those stops out, that would get us to 43.5 or so. So let's see if we can buy that, push through those just for fun. You could also be short down to them, but the reaction was pretty fast last time. You would have trouble getting profits quickly unless your target was, on the way to that, which is another technique for doing that. But I like to have the event happen and then go the other way. So I think we could take those out and I could catch a nice little long here. So let's see if that happens. That's probably the last good idea I'm going to have. And it's probably not going to come all the way down there. It looks like, there's one right there. We got the first one. We're right on them. Tempted to take a market right here. And I'm going to do that. All right. So I went ahead and bought one at the market just because odds are I can probably get some ticks on that here. But I really want to get long lower down. So I'm kind of trying to scale into a little micro position here. That's what I'm doing. We took out the first two of those, JVC, one left.
I see. Well, of course, there's.
Oh, yeah. Down at 41, there's a couple more. 41 and 40, there's more. But I'm talking about these right in here.
I'm talking about the stops. I'm still. Oh, okay. One of them just went. I still see one left.
Yeah, the stop. That's what I'm doing. I'm actually getting long on the stops. Yeah, they just went.
Now it's setting up.
Yeah, it is setting up. So, okay, so now we're long from 44.25, and we'll take profits pretty fast here because, again, I'm just playing with blocks of micros. So all it's got to do is push up a few ticks, and the first one's going to come off, and I don't want to sell this one anymore. So you can see where I'm trying to buy another one down here, and I might just put another order there. And let's see if we can, we're playing this tight little range we just formed. You can see we're right at the bottom of the range and the delta's starting to roll over. So, odds are I'll at least catch some ticks. There we go. Okay, so it's profitable now. It's about to fill on my first one. It's going to do it right there. Come on, boom, boom, boom. Okay, we filled on the first one. Now let's see if we can get a little traction back up to maybe 47 on the second one. So we'll scoot that up. It's hard to protect this, though. Where am I going to put a stop? Let's put it right. There's a take profit stop, but it's really too tight. I'm probably going to get hit. Scoot it up a little bit. Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. Popped up. Maybe we can catch a move running the other way now. I'm long from 43.5, and we're trading 45.5. And I've got a take profit at 45 in case it backfills. I'll at least get my profit locked in. So, boom. Oh, and I am by the way, this is trading in one of my funded accounts. It's also trade copying to two other accounts, a cash account and another eval account. So I'm actually trading this in three accounts at once. All right, so it's about quarter of here. We're going to go 5 more minutes, and then what we'll do is we'll wrap this session up, and then TRG members, the normal 6 o'clock session will start just before 6 o'clock. Interested to see what's going on in oil. I heard you traded oil yesterday, so had a good day with it finally, JVC.
Yeah,
good.
It behaved.
Finally, right?
Exactly.
Friggin' time. I'm going to load my oil while we're waiting for something else to happen here in the micros. Let's see. I guess I don't want that sell up there anymore because I'm flat already. So yeah, push down. I would let these guys fill. So another trade down to 43 or 42 I would buy. So we'll leave those 2 orders there. Meanwhile, we'll let Sierra get oil up here. All right. It looks like it has done that. And now I can switch back. All right. So we are ready for the oil open, the pit open, I should say. And up. Excuse me. Boy, this is a really quiet tape for a morning with NFP. I mean, it's just gotten anemic. We had a nice first reaction. I thought, oh, this is going to be great. And now it's just like, how slow can we go? Volume is slow, but not as bad as it was yesterday. And let's see. Looking at a couple of other barometers, and I don't see anything worth mentioning. So let's see. So your requirements for a ledge break is that it should be away. I describe this every time I go live, Keith. It's a great question. It's very simple, and it's in the pit. I'll bring up the image of the pit that it's where it is. If you look in instructors setups, doc scalping setup bullets, it's right there. And if you look at ledge, no high volume node between the current price and the ledge that you're going for. That's criterion number 1. Number 2, going toward the ledge with momentum. Obviously, you don't want to be going the other way or be, trading dead. Current price within 8 to 12 ticks of the ledge. And, when we're not so volatile, 6 to 8 ticks. But, under these conditions, that's what I'd look for. So that's the criteria of that. So the ledge is up there at 55. The high volume node ends around 53.5 or so, and that conveniently gets you within 8 or 10 ticks. So, anywhere above about 53.25, 53.5, with momentum, that ledge will go. And with those 3 parameters, the statistics are about 90%, 99% rather. I mean, I can count on one hand how many times it won't go if you have those 3 criteria. All right, so it is 1 minute till 50, I think. Yeah, so here's what we'll do. I don't think anything else is going to happen here that's going to be worth talking about. I'm going to cancel those. What's that?
Safe to say, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say it's really quiet. So what we will do is we will wrap this session up, and TRG members will start the oil ACE session and also preview the index open. We will start that a couple of minutes before 6. I'm going to take a quick break. Are there any other questions or comments? Anybody guess, or any of the TRG members before we wrap up? Oh, that's right. And Lee's session is at 9 o'clock my time this morning, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So
let me
double check that. So I'm doing 6 a.m. to 7:30. I'm doing for the normal opening 3, oil, and then the 2 CME A and B period, and then we have a hour and a half break, and then Lee's going to do the
monkey business
on zero prints. That should be really good.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Any other questions? I don't see any. All right. Thanks for coming, everybody. Thank you, guests. Join us again, and we'll see everybody TRG-wise in about 5 minutes.
Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Bye-bye.